Making sense of positive and negative numbers. In this lesson we'll see why we have signed numbers, how to add and subtract positive and negative numbers, how to multiply and divide them, and what we mean by absolute value. Positive and negative numbers are opposites. They can represent right or left, clockwise or anti-clockwise, savings and debt, where positive numbers can represent savings, where we have money, and a debt can be represented by negative numbers. We represent numbers on a number line. Positive numbers go up or to the right, and negative numbers go down or to the left. As we go up or to the right, the numbers are getting bigger. So therefore negative 9 is smaller than 2. Traditionally, positive and negative symbols preceded the numbers as superscripts. These days, the addition and subtraction signs are used, and to distinguish between those operations and positive and negative numbers, brackets are used in the latter case. When there is no sign, the number is understood to be positive. So for example, 5 really means positive 5. The set of positive and negative whole numbers together with 0 are called the set of integers, and they're given the symbol J. Let's see how we add and subtract integers. Let's start off by adding a positive number. For example, if we have $5 and we add $2, we'll end up with $7. Our balance has increased. Starting with a debt of $5 and adding $2 once again, we can pay off part of that debt, leaving us with a debt of $3. Our balance has once again increased. Starting with a debt of $1, adding $2 to that means that we can pay off our debt, and that leaves us with $1 credit. Our balance has again increased. In each case, adding a positive number has increased our balance. Let's subtract a positive number. For example, if we have $7 and we want to spend $2, we're left with $5. Let's start off with $1. We now want to spend $2 that we don't have, so we need to borrow $1, and now we have $2 that we can spend, and that leaves us with a debt of $1. Let's start off with a debt of $3. We want to spend $2, but we don't have it, so we'll borrow $2. We'll spend our $2, and we're left with a debt of $5. In each case, subtracting a positive number has decreased our balance. Let's now add a negative number. We'll start off with $7, and let's say we take on a debt of $2 for a friend. We can pay back that debt, and now we have $5. Let's start off with $1, and we'll again take on a debt of $2. We can pay off $1 of that debt, and that leaves us with a debt of $1. Lastly, let's start off with a $3 debt, and we take on a $2 debt for a friend. We now have a debt of $5. In each case, adding a negative number has decreased our balance. Let's see how subtracting a negative number works. Starting with $5, our friend comes along and wants to repay us by taking away a debt of $2. We don't have a debt, so what we're going to do is borrow $2, which comes with a debt of $2 that our friend takes away, and now we're left with $7. Starting with a debt of $5, our friend wants to help us out again and take away a debt of $2, which leaves us with a debt of $3. Lastly, if we have a debt of $1, our friend again wants to take away a debt of $2. We don't have a debt of $2, so we'll borrow a dollar which comes with a dollar debt, and now our friend can take on that debt of $2, leaving us with $1 credit. In each case, subtracting or removing that negative number increases our balance. Let's see how we can add and subtract numbers on a number line. We'll use 6 plus 3 as a nice easy example. We start on the first number, so that's 6. We face the direction of the sign of the second number, so that's positive. We're facing the positive direction. When we're adding, we'll move forwards. We're adding 3, so we'll move forwards 3. When we subtract, we'll move backwards. So in our example, 6 plus 3 gave us 9. In our second example, we have 6 plus negative 3. We'll start with 6 once again. Our second number is negative, so we'll face the negative direction, and we're adding, so we'll move forward 3. So our answer is 3. Now try 6 take away 3. Again, starting with 6, we face the positive direction for positive 3, and we're going to subtract, so we'll need to move backwards 3 places, and that puts us at 3 once again. Let's try 6 take away negative 3. We'll start off at 6. We need to face the negative direction for negative 3. We're subtracting, so we'll move backwards 3 places, and that puts us at 9. We can use a basket with balloons and weights to help us add and subtract integers. The positive numbers are like the balloons. When we add balloons, the basket goes up. When we subtract balloons, the basket goes down. If we add weights, negative numbers, then the basket will go down. Whereas when we subtract the weights, the basket will go up. Let's now tackle multiplying and dividing integers. Let's do 2 times 3. Well, that's just 2 lots of 3, so that is, of course, a positive 6. Whereas 2 lots of negative 3 will give us a negative 6. Now, if we do negative 2 times a negative 3, that negative 2 means that we have the opposite of what we had before, so our answer must be the opposite of negative 6, that is, positive 6. And if we introduce another negative sign here, then we must have the opposite of what we had before, so we're back to a negative 6. Each negative sign we come across is like flicking a switch. Every time you see a negative sign, you flick the switch. So 2 times negative 3 is equal to 6 in size, and we have one negative sign, so we flick the switch and the light is on, so our answer is negative. What about negative 2 times negative 3? Well, again, in size, that'll be 2 times 3 is 6. We'll come across our first negative sign, so we'll flick the switch. The light is now on. We come across our second negative sign, we'll flick the switch again, and the light is off. So our answer is now positive. In our last example, we work out that the size of the answer is 6. We come across a negative sign and flick the switch. Our second negative sign, we flick the switch again. And our third negative sign, we'll flick the switch again. The light is on, so our answer is negative. So how can we determine whether our answer is going to be positive or negative? We can work out the sign by counting the number of negative signs. Each pair of negative signs meant that we flicked the switch on and then off again. So if they're an even number, then we're back to positive again. The light is off. If we have an odd number of negative signs, then the light will be on, and the answer is negative. It doesn't matter how many positive numbers we have in the question. How does division work? Well, 6 divided by 2 is the same as 6 times a half. So division works in exactly the same way as multiplication. We started off with 2 positive numbers, and our answer is also positive. Here we have one negative number, and so our answer will be negative. 2 negative numbers here, and so our answer is positive. Division behaves in exactly the same way as multiplication. What do we mean by absolute value? Absolute value makes the number positive, so the absolute value of negative 6 is 6. The absolute value of 6 is also 6. It's really just the distance that the number is from 0. So positive 6, for example, is 6 units away from 0. And negative 6 is also 6 units away from 0. So the absolute value of each of those numbers is 6. Let's recap the lesson. Positives and negatives are opposites, like having money and owing money. Adding a negative number is equivalent to subtracting a positive number of the same size. Our balance will reduce. On the other hand, subtracting a negative number is the same as adding a positive number of the same size. Our balance will increase. When we're multiplying or dividing, we count up the number of negative signs, and each pair of negative signs will cancel out to a positive.